He thought it was just another quiet evening, a chance to finally breathe after a long day. But the sound of footsteps behind him told a different story. Strangers in uniforms he didn't recognize, flashing badges that didn't look quite right. They weren't real cops, but in that moment, they had all the power. Their eyes carried something more dangerous than authority: hatred. Without warning, they moved in, accusing, surrounding, threatening to take him away. He hadn't broken a single law. His only crime was the color of his skin. Neighbors peeked through their windows, watching silently, as if the scene before them was nothing new. What these men didn't know, what no one knew, was that the man they targeted wasn't just another victim. And when the truth came out, it would shake everyone to their core. How could a simple walk home turn into a night that changed everything? It started like any other day. Marcus, a hard-working man with a quiet strength, had spent the afternoon fixing things around his small home. Nothing unusual, nothing remarkable. He wasn't the type to draw attention. To his neighbors, he was just the man who waved every morning, kept his lawn neat, and minded his own business. But behind that calm routine was a man who had seen more than most could imagine. Years of discipline, service, and sacrifice shaped him into someone few truly understood. To the world around him, he was ordinary. To those who really knew him, he was anything but. That evening, as the sun dipped low and shadows stretched across the street, Marcus locked his door and stepped outside. He thought of dinner, maybe calling his sister, maybe just... Marcus hadn't walked more than a block before he sensed it: something was off. The air felt heavier, the silence sharper. A car that had been parked at the corner slowly rolled forward, its headlights dim, its engine low. He tried to ignore it, convincing himself it was nothing. But when it stopped again, just a few feet behind him, his pulse quickened. Two men stepped out. Their uniforms looked official at first glance, badges pinned to their chests, radios clipped to their belts. But something didn't sit right. The patches didn't match, the badges didn't shine, and their voices... That's when he saw it, the smirk. Not the kind of smirk a real officer wears when enforcing the law. This was different. Cruel. Enjoying the power. "Problem is you don't belong here," the taller one said. "You think you can just walk around like you own the place." Marcus's stomach tightened. He'd lived in this neighborhood for years. He paid his bills. He greeted these very streets every day. But in their eyes, none of that mattered. To them, his skin was all the evidence they needed. The second man moved closer, his hand hovering near his belt. "We've had complaints," he added vaguely, his eyes narrowing. "Suspicious activity." Suspicious? Marcus almost laughed at the neighbors peeked through blinds, some stepping onto porches but saying nothing. Their silence was deafening. Marcus felt the sting of being watched, judged, but not defended. The men closed in. One reached for his arm. Marcus stepped back, careful not to appear aggressive. His heart pounded, but he forced himself to remain still, steady. He knew how quickly Marcus's mind raced. If he resisted, they'd claim he attacked them. If he obeyed, he'd be at their mercy, taken who knows where. Either path felt like a trap. The taller man grabbed his arm, gripping hard, trying to yank him forward. Marcus steadied himself, refusing to be dragged. For a second, tension crackled in the air, so thick it was suffocating. Would this be the moment? Would they snap and try to force him down? Then, sirens in the distance. Real ones. Faint, but enough to make the imposters hesitate. Their grip loosened, their eyes darted nervously. Marcus locked eyes with them, his calm unshaken, though his blood thundered in his veins. He knew something they didn't. He wasn't just a man walking home. And if they pushed him any further, they were about to find out exactly who they had chosen to mess with. But for now, the sirens grew louder, but the imposters didn't back down. Instead, desperation flared in their eyes. One shoved Marcus against a wall, the other reached for his waistband as if ready to draw a weapon. The night air crackled with danger, every second stretched into an eternity. Marcus's chest tightened. He had been in dangerous situations before, but never like this, never in his own neighborhood, never because of the color of his skin. He could feel the weight of history pressing down on him, the faces of countless others who never made it out of encounters like this. The taller man hissed, "You think those sirens are here to save you? No one's coming." His grip tightened, knuckles white with rage. For a split second, Marcus saw the raw truth. These men didn't just want to intimidate him. They wanted to break him. A crowd had gathered now, phones lifted, whispers spreading like fire. But no one stepped forward. No one intervened. He was alone, cornered, moments from becoming another headline. And then, it happened. The shorter man pressed harder into his chest, snarling, "On your knees. Now." Marcus's mind raced. Comply, and he could vanish into the shadows of their false authority. Resist, and his story might end right. In that electrifying moment, Marcus wasn't just a victim. He was the storm they never saw coming. And as the real officers stepped out of their vehicles, hands on their weapons, one question hung in the air: would justice finally be served, or would this night take an even darker turn? The flashing lights washed over the street as the real officers stepped forward. The impostors stumbled, their false badges trembling under the scrutiny of law they pretended to serve. In that moment, the tables turned. The crowd, once silent, now found its voice, demanding answers, demanding accountability. Marcus stood. The men were taken away that night, exposed for what they truly were. Yet for Marcus, the scars went deeper than the confrontation. He had faced enemies across the country, worked cases that most couldn't imagine, but nothing cut as deeply as nearly losing his life in his own neighborhood, for nothing more than the color of his skin. And that's the truth too many live with every day. You don't have to be guilty. You don't even have to be suspicious. Sometimes, just existing is